All right, good afternoon, guys. All right, so yeah, just doing this kind of impromptu here. I know I don't normally stream. I would stream more often, but it just doesn't really push out to new viewers all that much. Just gonna do the video like normal here. I don't have a ton of time here. I do have to get to doing the holiday stuff. You got some family in town, but honestly, this saves me the trouble of working on editing and figuring out all that crap. Not that I have to edit too much, but all right, let's talk about it a little bit here. We'll talk about the market, and then we'll just get into some questions here. We're just going to hang out. Spider's here today. My partner Frank said this is like 5 people and an algo trading right now. Look at the volume here. 3:08 p.m., 47.5 million on the Spider. We knew that this market was just going to be, it was going to be quiet this week, and that should bode well for upside here. We'll talk about a few sectors that I like, and we'll go from there. I do want to say just off the bat, I see the IWM comments coming in already. We'll talk about that in a second. Let's just say this here. You have a very good rally here. We did close above the red bar, which is good. We're going to close above it, unless we have a meltdown here in the next hour, but that's not going to happen. We could, though, close below, watch this trend line here. We could close below 68. It wouldn't shock me. It wouldn't shock me, but I don't think that that's like necessarily, the end of the world if that does happen. But I just want to say it's funny because like last week everybody's bearish. And then this week, 3 or 4 days later, it's like nobody thinks there's downside that can come, moving forward. And I do think, again, I am in the end of year rally camp as well. But I just want to point out 2 main things. One, here's IWM for you guys. Actually, let me go to ES first. If you recall, last week, the last 2 weeks, I said, I'll use a 15 minute so it's easier to see. But remember back here, I was like, guys, there's a ton of air here, and that can get filled out. And it did, we made new lows. And then I said, here, there's a ton of air here on that NVIDIA earnings, and it got filled out, definitely. There's not even that much air on the ES. There is a lot down to 67, we'll say 25. But dude, the IWM, like, dude, this is like more air than I've ever seen in my life. This is just nothing. It's just, there's no support here. So when you're gamma squeezing up like this much without building support, you can come right down. I'll just say next week, 245, if that doesn't, and that's only where we were yesterday's close. If we break that, there's a lot of air below there that can get filled. So does that mean sell all your stocks and get short and everything's bearish? No, it just means that don't be so reactionary. Like I said last week, everybody got so bowled up on that pump, and that was a stone cold short. What if this trend line rejects, right? What if we do that, right? There's really nothing saying it can't. We know the institutional participation is not there, right? There's no, it's all air here. And again, I'm not saying this to be bearish. Like, I'm overwhelmingly long. I actually added to longs all week long, really. And ironically, I just happened to really nail some shorts this week, and it worked out very well. But I'm just saying, leave some powder, because, if that does happen, I'd like to buy, I'd like to buy that. Just so that's said. Why else could that be a thing? Well, let's look at Bitcoin. It is catching a bid now. It did catch a bid. It got a little outside move here, but Bitcoin should be, and I've said this before, I said Bitcoin should bottom first, and it really didn't. It bottomed at the same time, and it didn't even close green Friday with the market. And this has been this whole sell, this whole rotation, whatever you want to call it, in the market. It's been liquidity driven, right, or lack of liquidity, and Bitcoin showed that, right? Bitcoin gave us that clue. We talked about that before. I would want to see Bitcoin bottom, or if Bitcoin topped 2 weeks before the market did, right? Topped on the 6th. Stocks topped on the 29th, right? If that's the case, I want Bitcoin bottoming 3 weeks ahead of time. And I want it leading off the lows. It's not even leading. If this rejects at 92, if ETH rejects at 32, if Sol rejects at 155, 160, there's really nothing saying that this doesn't just, become another low here. So I'm just throwing that out there because I just see like a week ago it was like, really bearish there, but then a couple days later, oh, we're up a ton. And so what? I don't care about where we are now. I care about where we're going. Look at 2023. That's a 786 right there. Oh, well, we're up so much. Look at how strong the rally is. So it means it has to keep going up, right? No, it doesn't, right? So I'm just throwing that out there. And that's basically where we are now, right? Oh, 786. Oh, look at that. We know Friday is going to be a nothing burger. So just throwing that out there. Let me know what's on tap tonight and what's for dinner. That said, very nice move here. Hopefully we get some volatility to come back in next week. Sectors I like. I gave this one out for free like a week or two ago. But yeah, I mean, beautiful, like this is a classic falling wedge move, right? 1, 2, 3, overshoot, failure, and then just, this is out. I should have just taken my own advice, right? Should have bought it. I think this can be bought on dips though. And what I like about it especially is XHP on the weekly. Bear in sidebar starts to play out, and then in the middle of the week it reverses and closes back inside, and then follow through to the upside. So I like that. It signals trapped bears. Another one that I've tried several times in the last year, and I've basically just taken like a small gain on each time I've tried it, is IYR. Like this thing has to, okay, maybe it doesn't have to. Nothing has to happen, but statistically, like, this is a good tool I like. You guys know Bollinger Band width. Like, we're coming up to like 2017 levels here, right? It's got to move at some point, right? And right now we are seeing a rotation out of tech. That's the other thing too that has me a little cautious is that, yeah, I know SMH finally had a good day here today. NVIDIA gapped up, but Qs are lagging, right? I don't like that. But if we're rotating a little bit here, January effect, IYR, XHP, you guys know I've been pimping out XLV for a while. I mentioned this yesterday. Just buy that monthly 50 MA. And look at that, it's at an all-time high right now. You guys know another sector I like is staples. Up another 1.2, which for XLP, like if this was Tesla, that'd be like a 7% gain. Or if this was if this was Aklo, that'd be like a 20% gain. Right? So relatively speaking, that's a huge move. Monthly, I like it. It's at the 50 MA there. And I think, I can't find it. Off the top of my head, I don't think I have it, but it was like Barron's did a poll a few weeks ago. I should have saved it. I'm sure I can find it somewhere, but they did a poll on with fund managers, and this was the most hated sector. Nobody wanted to buy. They thought there was no upside in XLP. It's down for the year. One of the few sectors that is. Well, actually now it's green for the year, but tax loss selling, January effect. I personally, you guys know, I love the biggest piece of junk in the world. Pays a fat dividend. They just collected on that, honestly. CAG, and I do have Colgate as well, which I love at this level. I showed that yesterday. Adjusted for dividends, it even looks better. And then Clorox, another one I know some of my members have. I was hoping it would get to this trend line, but I think that might be it here. But I like the sector. I like the stock. Coke looks good. Even JJ. So like basically these boring names, J&J. I know Lilly has been good. I got my NVO finally working out too. Gap below the low on news, closing above. Look at the weekly. Finally hit the 786. Massive divergence on the RSI. On the weekly too. Monthly oversold. I mean, and I added to that on the gap down Monday yesterday. And now I'm in the money. So went from out of the money by a lot to in the money nicely on a very large position. So anyway, just throwing some stuff out there. And by the way, just full disclosure, I own this, CL, CAG. What else did I name? No, I don't have XLP, but I have plays on XLP. I would look to buy XHB or maybe nail on a dip. But just disclosing that. So I like that stuff going into the end of the year. What I don't like right now, and maybe it's contrarian at this point, but cloud up 3 cents today, dude. Look at the market. Qs are up 1%. If I told you the Qs are up 1% and I told you IGV was flat, you'd be like, there's no way. Palantir up 1.65, Microsoft up. And Microsoft's up 2% too. And IGV is still flat. Oracle up 4.6%. IGV still flat. Palantir up 1.68. Right. No, Workday just got smoked, but Intuit, CRM, and Now under a lot of pressure here. Careful with Intuit. Breaking that range, needs to get back above 640. And Workday obviously hammered, but holding the lows. I don't like how IGV could be it could essentially just be bear flagging below the 200. So I think that's it. That's where I'm at. We'll get into questions. Now, longer term, really quick, I do like these levels on Bitcoin, just to clarify. But, you know, near term as a trader, I don't know. I know you had a nice tail candle, but I don't know. It just doesn't look that strong off the lows. I think we'll see another retrace. I don't know. I thought about buying Microsoft. You know, I see somebody mention Microsoft here. You know what, dude? I'm because I was looking at calls yesterday. I don't really buy calls that often, and I was gonna just like pick some up for OPEX because I saw. I wish I should have taken a picture of it, but for Friday, because the calls were I think the calls were like $1. It might have been for Friday actually. They were for, but Microsoft had this is yesterday. It was like LG1 was 480, and then there was interest at 490. It's above that right now. I'm like, dude, for $1, that would have been 8x in one day. All it has to do is go it's like not even, it's like 20 basis points. That was crazy cheap. So I'm kicking myself about that, but. All right, anyway, I have limited time here. I'll try to go till 4 o'clock though. But I'll get you guys here. Yep, IWM. I appreciate that. I'm gonna call you 619. You from San Diego? Yeah, I think Friday will be quiet too. I mean, they might sneak. Who knows? They might. I've seen them sneak. I've seen them bail out bulls during holidays before, and by bailout I mean just if we pull back here at all, that puts the bears back in play a little bit, at least to fill some of these levels, 67, 66 maybe. But if they start pushing us too much closer to 69, it's gonna kind of slam the door, isn't it? But yeah, I mean, if we just hold sideways Friday, which is, it's that would be typical price action, but I can't rule it out. It's hard to really make a call one way or the other because I know the participation is going to be nothing. And if they make some announcement, oh, Ukraine deal, which again I think is mostly priced in, but we'll see. Yeah, and that's the thing. They want the end of year bonuses. I know they chased right here because I looked at the fund manager exposure and it was the highest. It's the highest since July 2024, which ironically was the carry trade fiasco. So they chased it, and that's why we pulled back. And that's kind of why I'm thinking, I don't know, maybe there's one more whip here. Maybe there's one more. Long NVIDIA. I think that's still going to have some trouble with 180, but if they hold, watch the monthly close on this. If that closes below 176.76, that's not good. But they seem to desperately hold that. I'm a little surprised they didn't get to 165. There was definitely fishing nets sitting there. I know that for a fact. But maybe just the light volume. Yeah, it does need to play. I mean, it hit the 200, right? And I tried to go long this earlier this year based on this monthly consolidation. And I stopped out right as the market was making the hot, like right here. I think I took like a 2% loss. Like it was hardly just a paper cut. But then it bottomed, and I was like, damn, like I knew. All it did was retest the 2021 high, right? And then it did that, and I was like, I knew that was gonna, and I'm not gonna just like gamble on it into earnings, which you would have had to have done. But once I saw that gap up, I was like, I know this is gone. This is going way higher. That's why I don't really like buying dips on Meta yet. I know it has a nice little trend line, and the weekly chart's all right, but that gap, I don't like that. I don't like the gap below the 200 and the follow through. I mean, maybe it goes back up, but I think the risk is too high right now. Yeah, XBI. Yeah, that's another one people forgot about. Everybody was trying. I think everybody, including myself, tried to buy this multiple times at some point for that rebound. It finally happened. Look at that. Look at this. I want to talk about air. This is more ridiculous than the spiders. If there's a fib, yeah, maybe at 130 might stall out there. Ridiculous. Yeah, RGEN. Yeah, Hormel, that's a food one. Yeah, 618. I'm sure somebody asked me about this a while ago, and look at this. All-time low on Hormel Foods to all-time high 618 tagged this past month. Not often you get to buy that on a blue chip like that. So I got no problem with those. Yeah, a lot of people have been asking about General Mills. That one's been tough. Yeah, CRISPR. It's holding the 200. Yeah, thanks, Rich. Yeah, we still have the Black Friday deal. If you guys want to ask me about that, it's there. Been killing it lately. I haven't looked at. Oops. Milwaukee asking about Bitcoin put walls. Which one are you referring to exactly? Last week? Are you referring to last week? Because I think I remember what you're talking about. Because there was a lot of them. Yeah, it's rare. There are times where it does happen, and sometimes it happens and then it's a buy, but I didn't see that last week. It was very odd. I thought that was a little strange too. That's why I thought it would rally to $50 last Friday. And that's why when it didn't do that, I just took my quick gains and got out. Josh saying, when you say lack liquidity, you're talking about banks, and just in the market. But yeah, there was obviously the Jeffries stuff, Blackstone, just like there was repo problems, right? And the dollar yen can really suck liquidity out if that starts pushing higher again, based on the implication that the BOJ will hike. Yeah, no problem. ANF, how's it? Didn't they have earnings? Nice pop. That retested the breakout too. Yeah, if that can clear 100, it's good to go. A lot of people short that. Yeah, Tozy S saying thoughts on NVIDIA Burry's point about chips 5 year. Yeah, there is real. So the thing with Burry, like there is real. There's a real thing to that. I have a close contact in the semiconductor space, and yeah, they are like they have all them Blackwell chips, and these data centers can't really like use them yet, like at least not most of them, because they're not even fully built. Well, if that takes a year, I mean, how long does a chip like take to become obsolete, right? Like 9 months, right? Sometimes. So yeah, that can be problematic. But I think really, I mean, and again, the circular accounting too is just like insane. But that's a thing that can take a long time to really play out. That's the only thing. I do think it will come to roost eventually. I'm certain of it actually, but that's kind of where I think a lot of this AI capex, these problems are coming from with these companies. Investors are like, well, yeah, it might take. Remember Meta in 2022 or whatever? Like Zuck kept spending all that money on the metaverse, and it's like it might work out eventually, but you're killing your your bottom line right now. So it might take time, and I think that investors are figuring that out. But yeah, it's a real thing. It's a real thing. But the market can be a little tricky. That's good. Yeah, don't trade Friday. If I catch anybody trading Friday, I'll be upset. Please don't. Unless we get like a massive geopolitical thing going on, we have like 100-point gap down or something. RKT. Yeah, this has come back really nicely. Yeah, it's still I mean it's stretched on the monthly, but maybe a little bit of distribution there. Just be careful. I know Open Door had that nice pattern, but it kind of failed a little bit. Now it's got a higher low. That one's hanging in there. I will say, just from like firsthand experience, I don't know where you guys live, but it is 100% a buyer's market in Florida right now. So I don't know if that affects anybody's decision, but yeah, that stock has been on a tear. A little stretch on the monthly still. Yeah, maybe with biotech. Yeah. Yes, I do have Discord. I have well, two. One for swing trades, one for day trades. SILJ, I would just like it to be leading silver, but I'll say though, I mean, as long as this is, you got basically a cup and handle here. I think we talked about it earlier in the room, right? This does remind me a lot of, this is what experience does for you. There's a Rolodex of random patterns that I remember. 2010, no October, November, and then it went. It's not the same, but it's similar. But yeah, silver does like to cool off in the fall, and then it peaks again in the spring. So maybe that's what this is here. But yeah, I would just refer to silver. If silver gets toppy or anything like that, SILJ will. Now, if silver starts breaking out, I want to see SILJ catch up fast and then start leading. But right now, it's back above that pivot high. There's SIL. Got a nasty topping candle, tail candle there. But yeah, you got to clear that. Trend is still up though. $108K. That was. Oh, so that was a while back. Yeah, I'm not off the top of my head. I don't know where. I know that last week though on IBIT, I know the 50, 49, and 48 puts paid out, and they usually don't. And there was quite a few. It was kind of an odd setup too, because there was a big LG one at 50, and then there was smaller LGs below that. It was definitely a weird setup. Yeah, it definitely the odds swung. I think we're at 84. I talked about it in the weekend video. It should be out at some point. But where the hell are we? Yeah, 80 or 82. Well, it just went down from an hour ago. I don't know. That was strange. That feels that felt like engineered, honestly. Really strange. The data wasn't even that like crazy to. Not that we even really get data anymore. By the way, did you guys see what they're like next week? It's like we're supposed to have PCE today. We don't have that. Then it's like jolts on Tuesday, and then no other jobs data outside of jobless claims. And then we got like a bunch of ISM. It's like, dude, can we just get back on the correct? How about just don't release any data for a month, and then whenever the first of the month starts, just release the normal schedule, because it's messing everything up. But yeah, the 2-year fell. So I mean, the thing is though, oh, 7 minus 5, 360. Yeah, the new Fed funds is going to be right there, if they cut. Not that much space. I'm surprised it went up that much, because I would think this needs to make a new low first or get very close to that before they start putting those odds up for a 25. But the 30-year, it was strong earlier, the yield, and it did pull back. Yeah, you can see the 2-year did not make a new low. I don't know. All right. Yeah, Friday, do not trade. Yep. No, you from San Diego. 619, that's the area code. Rey Mysterio. Michigan, okay. I'll just say this right now. The seller that I just dealt with, they were in a lot of trouble, and like I was basically able to get whatever I wanted, which was nice. But there's a lot of houses there here. Like when I first moved here, they would be on the market for 3 days, and now it's like the average is like almost 6 months, even nice ones. Yeah, copper is strong. I just mentioned that in the other video, but yeah, oops, not monthly. That week, I love that weekly chart there. Love it. So that's interesting that we're cutting rates. Oh, and by the way, if we want to talk like bigger picture, this is ridiculous. Like, so we're cutting rates, but we're also going to do a $2,000. I shouldn't even talk about this because it's gonna extend this video way longer than it needs to be. Oh my god. Anyway, well, right now it's pointing to a Fed cut, so I'll just go with the Fed funds futures until otherwise. So, it's next week. Here, I'll help you out. Oh, there's not enough options on Alta, not enough OI. Oh yeah, it's totally what it is. Like they can report certain data, but not all of it. And then they tell us the economy is so great, but we can't show you the data behind that. Well, why not? If it's so great, wouldn't you be proud of it? Oh, okay. Yeah, they're definitely getting it's definitely getting revalued big time. Well, there's tax benefits for everything here, just in general. Wheat is I don't really like trading wheat anymore because I only like things that don't have a lot of commercial hedging, and wheat like nat gas, soybeans, even platinum and palladium to a degree. Like I don't mind trading them long term. By the way, nice breakouts here, but there's so much commercial hedging that drives price versus speculation versus ES, for instance. It's just hard to chart. But right now, wheat itself's got a clear 545. The ETF looks like it did a reverse split. I don't know. This chart's tough. It just looks like we just back tested this pivot and failed. I think that war ending is not going to help it. Maybe it will. Maybe it'll be a contrarian. But that's how I would play it if I was going to. Leaps are probably better. Yeah. Yeah, tariff revenue. Yeah. Oops. Try to type in. See, look what they did. Oh, so this is just like it's basically TLT. I'll just treat it like TLT. It had a good reversal today. I'm just going to look at the 30-year. Just be careful that doesn't become an inverse head and shoulders. Or a head and shoulders. I will say, though, volatility on TLT is going to increase soon. So you're like, it's definitely getting there. Probably early next year. Obviously 92. You can break above that, it can go higher. But if it starts to lose this area here, it's in trouble. But, all right, I'll take a few more here. But, it's the holidays and whatnot. I thought it would be fun to just do this here. Yeah, Josh, I think index says can trade back down through that breakdown. Or would be yeah, I think it can. I need to see I need to see how this reacts here. The thing is, like, not so much the S&P. Here's the bear thing. The Qs are lagging. The dollar yen is bull flagging, and The IWM is a ton of, it's leading, but there's a ton of air here. So, yeah, I mean, like, this can absolutely, like, you'd be surprised. Like, it can absolutely, like, I mean, like, what's to say that this doesn't just do that and then up? It's just a third pivot, you know. Now it could, you know, or maybe it just goes straight up. Who knows? Or maybe it just puts in a higher low, right? Those are scenarios that I'm watching for. You know, I'm not gonna make predictions here per se, but I think that's the likely, you know, those are likely scenarios that I would want to be ready for. But I do think we're bullish into the end of the year, though. You know, for the most part, regardless. Maybe. I still think the dollar's got a huge right tail in it. I mean, weekly, really good W. So it can pull back and put in a V right here. And I just don't like how everybody's short the dollar because of something that could take 100 years to take, you know, happen. Yeah, like I said, if they pass those stimmies, like, it's over. But yeah, we'll see. I still think I like the risk reward just for the positioning. Yeah, I mean, that's a whole nother can of worms, but yeah, every government's doing that, Brandon. Right now, I got some, I just opened it. It's Thin Man, Minky Boodle. This is from Buffalo. So, like I said, I have family in town, and had a little, can't get this here. It's a fruited sour, it's delicious. So, getting the weekend started. Derek, you're asking the right question. A very good question, right? That that's exactly what you should be asking. And that those are the things that I love to look for, right? Uh, that's how you find like a good right tail or a left tail. Yeah, shouldn't this be collapsing? By the way, right, TLT's up, the dollar's down. We had softer economic data this morning. Shouldn't this be getting pounded right now? Crude has every reason to be getting pounded right now. Those are the right questions you want to ask. All right, you too, buddy. I appreciate it. I'll ask, yeah, answer it, Tozy. I don't know, man. This is tough. I mean, I would say this: there's a gigantic right tail in this if it ever breaks out, like above 60. But it's hard, like this pattern's weak, like at face value on the bigger time, and this is a tight range. Um, SMG, Scott's that is a really indirect way. Yeah, this one too. Why has this stock gotten beaten so bad? Oh no. Absolutely not, Brett. I hate that. Well, actually, no. That's the only one that's acceptable that they make. Um, yeah. SMG here. I don't know. I don't. It's in a range here, which is better than MSOS, technically speaking. So, for what it's worth. I don't know. I wish I'd give you something more on that one. Rates down, oil down. Well, yeah, oil should be down with rates down, and it's not. It rotates between SPY or SPX, SPY, and QQQ, and I do tickers on request right now as well. But yeah, even if I'm not there, it plays. Uh, I don't know. I would just say give it the upside bias to 7K if that's the case. I don't think like a lot of people are looking for like, oh, we're gonna like melt. I don't think that's gonna happen. I think it would be, you get the 7K and then it'd be kind of bumpy from there. Remember last year, like everybody, I thought it was gonna melt. Like we went up, we did this, we slammed, and then we closed down. We just basically closed at the highs of October. So like from here to here, it looks like we're going up. We're going like, oh, we're going way higher. But then by the end of the year, we just closed the October high pretty much. So I don't think that like we're gonna like necessarily really melt. I just don't see like if we got to max fund manager positioning a month ago, we're gonna get there again at 7K. Yeah, exactly. It's like it could squeeze, right? There's a massive right tail if it does, particularly the other one, my IPR. But it's like, how do you know when that's going to happen? It's going to be it clears 60 with volume, yeah, then you might do that. But all right, guys. So I'll wrap it up here. It's almost 4, so let's just take a look here. Oh my God, are they going to do it? Are they going to do it? Let's take a look. One last look here. Nah, that'd be funny though. So we'll probably just close at right where we're at here, below 68.25. I was thinking like, what if they dump us to 6,800 just to, but I don't think there's enough interest there. So we'll see. Yeah, outside of that, good stuff. This Tesla. Oh, Tesla, what are you doing? You need to go back to 420. But anyway, maybe 4:30. We'll see. Anyway, we'll wrap it up here. You guys take care. Have a great one. Thank you guys all for showing up. If you guys got any questions about the Discord Friday, you can message me on Aaron at Carnivore Trades or on X, whatever you guys want to do, and I'll be happy to answer. So, but yeah, thank you guys. Appreciate you all. You guys take care. Have a great holiday, and I'll see you guys all next week.